Attention, 5-9 gamers. We are back with another installment of your favorite Dokkan Battle podcast called the Dokkan Battle Podcast. I am your host, Toon Rami, and joining me this week is the international family guy himself, Talon.
Ohayou gozaimasu, minasan.
Part-time stand user and full-time Super Battle Road King, the Masked Ningen.
Yo, how's it going, everybody?
The homie who needs no introduction, Goresh.
What's going on, everybody?
The baby face of 5'9" and top 5 Toad cosplayer, Nolar.
What's going on, everyone?
Stellt euch dem mächtigen und schnellsten Speedrunner Sunblade.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
Babyface. All right. Make sure you guys are locked in across all social media platforms and fully connect with the 59G network. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube, join the Discord, check out the Facebook fan page, the subreddit, the website, everything. Check it out today. Make sure you guys are fully locked in. And don't forget, the Dokkan Awards are coming up. So don't forget to cast your vote for your favorite Dokkan moments in the poll for the upcoming show, which will be happening on March 5th. Make sure you guys vote today. So with all things said and done, let's jump into episode 19, the Not So-Sinister 6. So guys, obviously, a little something happened this week on Dokkan. You might have heard about it. It's a little thing called the 6th-year anniversary. Kind of a big deal. Let's just take it away, guys. Is this the best anniversary we've ever had? It's only been, what, a day? And we already hit top grossing. People are freaking out about the units, the music, everything. Just let's open the floor. Talon, we'll start with you. What is your takeaway from this initial day of 6-year anniversary hype?
So just from the first day, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good anniversary. I mean, we got everything from a ton of events that have returned to new story events, new boss rush so people get more stones. Obviously, the new units are here and everything. The banners are actually pretty good. Still not a fan of the whole 10 unit, but it is what it is. The only thing we really haven't seen any information for is like a proper EZA or maybe like some kind of raid battle or something, which generally the raid battle is going to be in part 2, that type of stuff. And other than that, we pretty much have hit everything, I think, in terms of what needs to be in an anniversary. Now, of course, the big question is, how long do they drip feed it in terms of what comes out in part 2? Is there a part 3? AKA there probably will be because of like the 6/6 ticket and everything. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, I say it's off to a good start.
Would you say that this is the best anniversary they've ever done in terms of execution right off the gate?
No, I think I still leave that to year 4 because I'm pretty sure year 4 already showed us that there were proper EZAs and everything. So let's wait to see what happens with those going forward.
So let's talk about the 2 units that everyone is clamoring for right now. We've got Ultra Instinct and we've got Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, or as it's actually known, Royal Blue Vegeta. So
I can tell it hurt you to say that.
I know.
It actually did. I was contractually obligated to say that.
Wait, I heard that you called that unit coming to the game.
I did.
Sure.
I actually created him.
Okay.
I actually created the unit. Yeah. So, Gresh, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Ultra Instinct or Royal Blue? Which one? Which one's better?
So I think I like Goku better at this point. I mean, obviously I haven't used the units at all, but just based off of what I've seen initially, it looks like Goku's better defensively. Offensively, they're pretty much the same. Vegeta has the AoE active skill, whereas Goku has like the single target one. The single target one's going to hit harder on single target, whereas the AoE one's going to hit harder against multiple enemies. I think Goku's defensive utility just takes the cake, in my opinion. And we'll get to the categories later, but the categories are a different story, I feel like Vegeta might have the edge there. But I mean, they're both ridiculously good, right? You can't go wrong summoning on like one banner or the other. They're both really good.
Some people have been having some pretty good luck with their summons lately. Anyone want to mention their summons? How have they been going? Nolar.
No, they weren't that great, to be honest. I think I'm at 3K. And I gotta stop now because of collabs and stuff. But what am I at? Like 3 Gokus and 3 Vegetas or 2 Vegetas, something like that.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's just always the bad part is when you're going for those long streaks. The issue is when you you hit that like 900 stones streak of like nothing. I think in the first 900 it was like nothing, and then all of a sudden, bam, the floodgates had opened. But so far, these banners are always probably the best banners I've seen. Just because you get summons like double, triple Dokkan Fest LRs in a multi, 3+1. Obviously that'll change for global in the sense that you'll get tickets and all this other stuff. But like 3+1 is great value. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. But overall, yeah, it's pretty good so far in terms of the banner structure. If I had to pick one over the other slightly, probably give Vegeta's banner slight edge over it, at least to me, for what I would assume most of the people would require or would like. So, but yeah.
Have we ever had? I know we've talked about this on previous streams, especially yesterday. The whole top grossing thing. This might be the fastest we've ever had a top grossing on Dokkan. Is that right? I think Goresh, you said the only thing that could be comparable would be Kid Goku, right? But top grossing, this is crazy how fast we got it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is that they did throw the sales out pretty significantly before the banners dropped. So like that's the driving force behind why I think we hit it so fast. For Kid Goku, I believe the sales went live right when the banner did, maybe like an hour before. So that's I think Kid Goku hit, like if you want to start it at like when the sales drop, because that's obviously the driving force behind where most of the revenue is coming from. I think maybe he did hit it faster, but it's like right there. Also, I remember the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Goku Dual Dokkan Fest for New Year's last year also hit it very fast too. So I think those three are the fastest times. Maybe Anniversary last year as well, but there's like it was very fast. Yeah.
I think part of that could be due to some of the global players wanting to have a bit of a taste of the action. I know myself and another person who shall remain masked or unmasked did some summons on the 6-year banners. So Ningen, how was your experience with the JP side of things for a change?
Mine wasn't so great. I mean, I recaptured my account. I think it's the first time I've logged into it since the LR Blue Goku and Vegeta came out on JP. But I had enough stones. I had to do the new boss rush, and then that put me up to about 300. So I did one cycle on both banners, and I got Cell from Vegeta's banner, but I didn't get either of the two new LRs. I think I got the Gohan off of Goku's one, but yeah, I might start messing around with that account and trying to build it up a little bit, but I just wanted to jump in and see if I could get them, but I probably won't touch the account too much more after this, but we'll see.
So you're telling me that you can actually hold out and not go back in until Global gets this 6 years from now? 6 months from now?
6 years from now, damn.
6 years from now, we're not that behind.
Damn. I knew it was delayed, but woo.
All right, Sunblade. We got to talk about these two units and the new meta that has emerged from JP. We've got a new event, the Gods of Destruction event, which is apparently the most difficult event in Dokkan. So, Sunblade, have you had any experience or run-in with this event yet after your summons? And if so, how have they been treating you? How have these Gods of Destruction been treating you?
Okay, so I attempted those stages before the banners went live, I believe, and I have to disagree. I don't think that the God of Destruction events are the most difficult stages. At least it doesn't feel to me. And yeah, that's because like I think the God of Destruction from Universe 3, you can easily take him down with Extreme SDR and the rest. Like it's not a big deal with a proper Majin Buu Saga and Battle of Wits team. So yeah, it's a nice little thing, but yeah, not the challenge I expected, especially because the event is so short. But yeah, I enjoy it nonetheless.
I think also the fact that the two units that were released were essentially, I wouldn't say made for it, but it helps tremendously to have those units for the event. Talon, have you had any difficult times with this event, or what's it been like
in the
for
very
you?
beginning I did, just simply because I was trying to learn it, see what it's like and everything. I think just the biggest thing is the fact that it limits you to 3 times a day. And so if you just get simply unlucky on this, the stage, especially on stage 3. I'd say stage 3 is the biggest pain to deal with, simply because the guy's got the AoE effect on his super attack. And so there'll be times where like, okay, I've got this rotation. There's no way I die or anything. And then he just throws the super attack up in the very first slot. And you're just like, oh, well, now my health is like over halfly gone or something like that. Whereas if I just gotten my super attack off first, or my guys have been able to get their super attacks off first, then I'd be completely fine. I would have taken like maybe 50k. So
yeah, I think my biggest complaint with the event is the fact that it limits you to 3 times a day.
Yep.
Each stage.
Yeah, definitely that. Yep.
Like if you're gonna release an event, like this is like what you've been asking for the past 2 years, I think, is a difficult stage where every stage has like different, stipulations in it, where it's like, okay, this guy AoEs you, this guy changes typing every turn, this guy dodges, and there's like different elements to every stage. So I feel like this is a mode where you actually want to keep jumping in with different teams and testing them out, because unlike for Battle Road, you can just bring whatever you want. You're not restricted to certain categories or whatever for each stage. So the fact that they restrict you for 3 times a day is kind of like, okay, well, now I don't feel like I want to experiment as much because I'm wasting tries, right? So that's something I don't like about it.
Yeah. I think also something that Ningen had tweeted about, I saw that and I agreed, was that now that we have a new event, why not just make Super Battle Road available all week? This is kind of the new marquee event that everyone's struggling to defeat. So why not make the Super Battle Road now just a regular thing? Because we're all working on Super Battle Road runs all the time anyway. So it feels like this would be the right time to kind of grandfather that event into the regular fold, right?
Yeah, well, the reason I thought of it, the reason I tweeted it the other day, is because it happens quite a lot for the global release schedule. So Gogeta comes out, and for me, it's like Monday morning. So that means if I want to try him in Super Battle Road, unless I use keys, which I do have some left, I'd have to wait like 5 whole days before I can take him into Super Battle Road. So I don't see any point. I don't know why they did it when it first came out, but now I don't see why it should only be on at the weekends. But yeah, that's also much. Sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the main things about that God of Destruction event, I agree with what Goresh was saying, because obviously a lot of people out there don't necessarily want to like look it up on the wiki or watch somebody do a video of it before they've had a chance to try it. So yeah, it doesn't really give you that sort of play testing ability, because if you jump in, immediately realize you brought the wrong team, that's one of your 3 attempts for the day like used up. So obviously for like when it comes to global, like we'll already know what to do, but for people who kind of want to go in blind and just have fun with it, like you could end up wasting all 3 of your attempts without really knowing what you were doing.
Yeah, so. And it also the limited attempts per day also brings in the problem of rotations, because if you have horrible starting rotations, like these are bosses that can kill you in like 1 turn. So if you have bad rotations starting out, then like you can just there's a possibility you jump in and you just have no chance no matter what.
Yeah.
So I feel like that also is not a great design choice by them, because if your rotations suck, and let's say you have 3 support units all in the first rotation, like you're just screwed at that point.
Well, Goresh, I saw a video where you got killed with 1 attack.
Yeah, with my fully unawakened team on JP, because I never played the account. Yeah, it's the account. You know why I have that account? It's to read the news, because JPZ Space doesn't update on JP anymore, so I have to actually have an account now.
Well, yeah, to beat that boss rush earlier, to get the stones to do the cycle on Vegeta's banner, I was using my fusion team is my best team on that JP account, and none of the units that actually have easy A's are easy A'd.
It's too funny.
So let's talk about the revival skill, because that is the big draw, the big sell for these new units, and probably the thing that's going to keep you alive in these Gods of Destruction events. So the revival skill is pretty simple. If you die, you are revived. It's essentially a free Dragonstone, and that's pretty much it. Do you guys think that was enough? Do you think there should have been more to it? Or is this just, this is the early version of the mechanic? Maybe they'll add more and more things in the future. What was your guys' reaction when you fully understood what exactly is going on with the revival mechanic?
Well, before we get into that, because even though I'm supposed to keep up with stuff, it's just been a whirlwind. So someone explain exactly what the revival mechanic is, not just for me, but for anyone else who doesn't know what that is.
All right, so basically how it works is you have to fulfill the conditions. So I believe for Vegeta it's 7 hits and below 50% health. And for Goku it's 3 hits and 50% health, below 50% health because he dodges everything, and once you dodge, it doesn't count as being hit. That's why they made it easier, quote unquote, for him to get it. So once you are meeting those conditions and you enter the turn, then on the bottom left of your screen there's like a little revival area for it, and it'll light up when it's active. And then in that turn, if any allies take a hit that would kill you, so not even just Goku, it's like if any, if in that rotation you die, it'll activate and you'll revive at 70% health, and it'll be the following turn. So basically, you skip the turn and you just revive at 70% health.
Okay. So with that in mind, does that sound like all it should be? Was there a little more that they could have added, or is that pretty much it?
So I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. We'll see. But the thing I like the idea of it. I think the design's cool. Obviously, the animations that they both have are really cool. But like, this is something that would have been really awesome to be in the game like 3 years ago when events were actually hard and you could actually die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously we're talking about how they, they're really well made, well suited for this new event because it is easy to die. But like, what other events outside of Extreme Super Battle Road are you ever going to see this? Which is a shame, because it's just like, the whole reason why Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is a meme. Like, he's awesome, but you never get to see it, and you want to see it because it's in the game and it looks really cool. But
I mean,
that's
you could
the
see
only initial problem that I have with it as a system, is it's just too hard to die most of the time.
You could see it in longer events, I feel like, and I feel like a mechanic like this on a unit could influence you to bring units that you wouldn't normally bring now. So like AGL Turles, like he's gonna take a lot of damage, but he's providing a huge support buff to your team. So people were scared to bring him to these events because he's not very defensive. But now that you have the revival skill, maybe you don't care as much, because even if you die, you'll revive anyway. And also the items that you bring too, like
I was gonna say,
instead of bringing Whis every time, or Nurse Chi-Chi, maybe you're bringing the Takoyaki item now, or maybe you're bringing the Bulma healing item, or maybe even the 5-turn Bulma item, because you don't care as much about dying since you'll revive anyway. So a lot of these things that we've become accustomed to, like, okay, I'm always bringing these units, or I'm always bringing these items. Maybe it's not as important anymore.
Yeah,
I personally like it. In terms of what you guys are talking about, where it's going to force you to, or not force you, but it allows you to bring different things, because you're like, hey, if I want to say have a rotation of say Vegeta, some other card, and then that support unit that you love bringing, but like you don't want to bring it because it's going to, just get destroyed at the end all the time. It's like, oh, by the way, it can get destroyed all it wants, but guess what? I'm going to revive. So that's cool. I think the thing that I don't particularly like about it at this moment in time, and again, it kind of feels like an early stage of it, kind of like the LR Year 3 fusions, where they're trying to get that whole balance to the transformation mechanics and then actually getting the transformation off and everything, is that it requires, at least on Vegeta for right now, Goku, I'm sure because of all his dodging and everything, is the fact that the requirements are a little steep in my opinion. And I get it. I do get it. It's, it's a free life basically, right? But I think the thing I don't like about the requirements as of right now for these 2 units is the fact that you have to have them with very particular units, which is the representatives of Universe 7. And I get it. That's what they lead and everything. But what if you want to use these guys on a different team? Or maybe your box isn't as big or anything, or you're more of a newer player and you don't have cards that work with that. It's like, oh, well, I can basically never see it. So I think that's why it kind of feels like it's in the early stages for me. And it's going to be very similar to how we all thought about the Year 3 LRs and their transformation mechanics. So
they don't require those category units to activate the revival skill.
Yeah, I was about to look it up. Yep.
No,
they don't.
That was actually going to lead into a question for Sunblade. I'm going to put you on the spot, Sunblade. So given that basically how the revival mechanic works is you have conditions, then you have the KO screen, and then you have the revival. At a certain point, they're going to need to add some new versions of the revival to just keep things spicy and just make more units relevant. Do you think the formula for updating the revival mechanic moving forward is just simply changing the conditions for the newer units that get it? Or should there be something that happens afterwards? Like if you revive with even more health or even more attack or some sort of crazy boost for one turn or for one attack. Where do you see this evolving from a developer standpoint as far as the revival mechanic?
Okay, so my realistic opinion is that this is the formula and it's never going to change because it's Akatsuki. But what I wish is that Akatsuki actually experiment with stuff. So if you revive, you don't recover like 70% HP, you get like something else. I don't know what, but I want to get surprised and not like get the same stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah,
But,
like damage reduction. For 3 turns, you get huge amount of damage reduction, but you don't get much HP back. Like that would be kind of cool.
Something like that. Yeah, right. But it's Akatsuki.
Who knows? Yeah.
I think we'll probably get a Cell who revives and gets like quote unquote Super Saiyan 2, but he just gets like HP. But you could give him additional attack because he gets stronger when he came back. So yeah.
You mean what Incel should have been?
Yeah, exactly.
Or this is where they'll use the mechanic for LR Kid Buu, right?
Oh yeah, the global first one. Yeah,
just the infinite amount of revives. You know, just Kid Buu, right?
Do you think they would ever do something like that? Infinite revive, but like with diminishing. Well, I guess it wouldn't be infinite, but some sort of a revive mechanic that's somewhat recurring with diminishing returns each time you do it.
No,
or you could make it super restrictive, but it can happen more than once. But the restrictions to actually get it are really difficult.
Well, because the actual like mechanic can only activate once per fight. But I mean, if they made an exception for like one special unit, I guess they could. But for me, I feel like the way that they're going to do this is because it's such a powerful effect. Like you literally just don't die for 1 turn.
Yeah.
I feel like the way they're going to do this is they're just going to, like you said before, they're going to base it around the conditions. I would actually argue that the conditions for these guys are pretty bad. 7 times you get hit. Like we already know how tough it is for Jiren to get his active skill off, and same thing with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, even though it's a little bit easier for him. The 7 times is like, turn 5, 6, 7 around there to get this off, and you also be below 50% health. So I think they can use this mechanic to balance the game better. So like a team that really needs help, like Dragon Ball Saga, like a unit for the Dragon Ball Saga team that just doesn't have any conditions. What if they just every single time they die they revive? Or obviously only be once per fight, but that's a way they can make that team a lot more powerful. Is they just release a unit that doesn't have any conditions for the rivals to activate because the team needs more help.
That would be cool. And they've got just an infinite number of ways to justify a revival for some character. Like Piccolo, for example, Demon King Piccolo. You have an easy way to figure out or logically, form a revival mechanic for that guy. Just use the Dragon Balls or something like that. So yeah, there's many number of ways to get this going for other units. So hopefully, this is obviously the baseline. So they will have nowhere to go but up essentially. So hopefully they can.
Don't say that.
More and more.
Don't say that. We all thought the same thing about transformation mechanics.
Hey man, I want to be optimistic. Okay.
Transformation mechanics did get a lot easier. Like take a look at the first ones, the Vegeta and Gogeta, and then take a look at like Angel Golden Freeze. Obviously, it's an active skill, but it's the same concept, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if we're saying about how it will influence team building and stuff in the future, because I know one subset of units. There's not a lot of them that are even that good anymore anyway, but I wonder if we'll see a resurgence in units that sacrifice HP when doing certain attacks, because then obviously that's something you can factor in when it comes to trying to make the revival skills actually seen more regularly.
That's true. I mean, do you guys remember from the old days where if you didn't kill the countdowns, right? The Super Saiyan 3 countdown, right? When you're facing off against Super Saiyan 3 Goku or Physical Frieza, right? You had 2 turns to get rid of him and then you die. I mean, they could bring that back into play where they'll be, oh, well, the boss has 50% damage reduction. So hopefully you brought a revival unit that's on the right rotation, or you can manage to burn through him with like defense down and damage reduction down or something like that and beat him that way. So I'm just a little more excited, not necessarily just for the team building per se. I mean, you guys are right about that, but more on like what they can do with the content. If they keep that in mind. Now, the downside is right now we've only got 2 units that can utilize the revival mechanic, and they're Dokkan Fest LRs, right? So in order to make the content more useful in that regard, they need to make sure that free-to-play units have a revival mechanic too, right? In order for them to justify making it in a Dokkan Fest event or some other form of content, right? So I'm looking more towards the next 3 to 6 months where when they start fleshing out more units with this mechanic, maybe they can then, really bridge the gap of like content can be much more difficult, or different types of varying content where we can enjoy that.
Yeah, that also begs the question: how often are they going to release units that have this mechanic too? Because once we got transformations in the 3rd year anniversary, we saw like almost every Dokkan Fest that came out had that. But this is different because you can only do this once per fight, and you can only do it once. So that really means you can only do it once on a team. Because if you have a leader, and then you have one leader on one rotation, one leader on the other rotation, they're both gonna be able to activate their revival skill. You don't need another unit on the team that has that ability.
Right.
So are they really going to go and do like a new revival skill every single Dokkan Fest? Probably not. It's probably going to be. I wouldn't say it's going to be as little as we saw the exchange mechanic, but it's probably going to be like every 3 to 4, maybe. I would say.
Maybe every big celebration, essentially. Like maybe the next one would be Golden Week or something. So.
I would prioritize giving units that fit on teams that need the help more. These skills, because these are so powerful.
Back during some of our speculation streams, and just in random conversations, we've mentioned how, like the exchange mechanic, there was a free-to-play version and then a summonable version. Where is the free-to-play version going to come in for this revival mechanic? Because we've yet to see that, and obviously the 6-year celebration just started, but do you guys see them actually giving us some sort of a free-to-play revival at some point during this celebration, or is this going to be held off into some time in the future?
Right, I wouldn't be surprised if the LR Roshi has one.
Yeah, I was going to say Roshi could have it, yeah.
Well, he does revive, right?
Yeah, Goku revives him.
Yeah.
If they do free-to-play versions of revival skills, I feel like the conditions are going to be very bad. Get prepared, because I think they are going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Do you think that could potentially lead to a potentially underwhelming skill set for LR Roshi? If, let's say, he does have a revival, he may not be as robust as we might hope, just because he now has to balance out that skill in there. So what do you guys think that would do to the unit overall if it were to attain a free-to-play unit, if it attained a revival skill mechanic?
Well, I think the unit could still be good, but like Goresh said, they'll just make the restriction for actually activating his revival either more difficult to activate. So the unit, it won't necessarily have to affect how good the unit is overall in terms of just his kit. But I guess that's something we'll have to wait and see how difficult they choose to make that.
Because I don't think they went ahead and because we're giving Goku and Vegeta the revival skill. Let's then go ahead and make them worse and like their other ways that they're built. I don't think they're gimped because of that. I think it's just an additional thing that they got.
Speaking of an additional thing that we got, let's talk about support memories. So this is one of the biggest updates to hit Dokkan, and it's not game breaking, which is one thing I'm very happy about, because there is enough to still need all your items and still need all of your units' abilities to actually get through an event. This is just a small little add-on. So in my opinion, I feel like this was a nice little update. But I wanted to ask you guys, what did you think about the arrival of the support memories? Have you been satisfied so far with I believe we had like 6 or 7 support memories that have been implemented in Dokkan? What are you guys' thoughts on this new update? Was it just what Dokkan needed? Is it kind of meh? We don't really need it, but it's there and it's nice. What are your guys' reactions to it?
I will take this one first, I guess. I think it's kind of and Dokkan doesn't really need it because it makes the content easier. To be honest, I haven't used a single support memory so far, but I'm excited to see what the Zeno item will do. And I wish for more
We already
diverse.
know what it does.
Yeah, we already know what it
I
does.
think we know what it does already.
Yeah, Zeno gives Universe Survival Saga category allies attack and defense plus 10%.
I believe it's permanent as well.
Yeah, it's for the entire battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and we have to finish all God of Destruction events for just that. Okay.
That, and they've
That's pretty
also stated
insane.
that there's going to be other ways to get it, but they have not released any information on that yet. So
Underwhelming, and I hope that we will get like interesting effects in the future.
Well, I would argue that we already do have an interesting one, which is the Oolong one.
That's actually my favorite. Yeah.
What's that one do?
Okay, yeah.
It gives
Boosts
you
drop rates by 50%.
Yeah, so it's one that you use. It's not even like a battle thing. It's outside of battle.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like they could use that to like fix a lot of issues. Like, what if there was a support I don't know if they would actually do this, but what if there's a support memory that lets you mirror your friend lead?
Yeah.
Oh, Hydros.
Finally,
The Hydro
Time if
support
that could
memory.
actually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could use the copy Vegeta thing.
Yeah.
Ningen, I have a very important question for you. If you
Yeah.
beat Super Battle Road only using support memories, is that a no item run?
No, we have agreed, apparently. The official rules are that using a support memory counts as using an item. So
Even
So,
though
doesn't
it does
that
things
neglects truth then? Okay, because
as
he did one
harmless
of the
as
battle
attack and
roads.
defense plus 10%, is that really worth considering an item?
yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Well, something like that
I mean-
can be a big difference. Not in terms of like no items, because then you are really splitting hairs. But like that 10% attack and defense, like for some people, that will be the difference between them beating like that stage and not, like based on the level of their account.
Okay, so yeah, what I wanted to jump in on was like you're right where to go to Sunblade's point of seems a little underwhelming. Well, for us that run the content quite a bit and we have built accounts, some a little more than others, but we have built accounts. It's going to be underwhelming to us, right? But for a regular new player or free to play player, that may, like you said, that 10% might not seem like a lot, but that could be, instead of 20k damage they take, that's 18k. And then they manage to get to the next turn and then finish it off and finish the stage, whatever the case may be. So it's like skill equips, memories. They're all the extra advantage that I feel like the casual free-to-play player needs to finish some of these harder events. Now, why is it pointless to us? Because we have built accounts. What they do to make this worthwhile is give us an event or content that would be useful for something like that. So yeah, if you have like truth level account where everything's rainbowed, all the skill equips, well then you need to give them a challenge where you just have an endless tower. That's kind of a gacha thing in general, where you just go as hard as you can. The thing will get infinitely harder and harder, and to a point where you max out all your items, you max out all your equipment, everything you can do, and you still can't beat it. So you got to wait till the next little power creep boost in order to get to the next part, right? So that's the one thing to us, while as content creators with built accounts, we think it's a little underwhelming. They just need to give us some kind of content to chew on it where it's useful in that regard. So they needed to do that. That's the point I wanted to make there.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting the 5th support item slot or something like that. It's not that impactful. But it's something additional that we didn't need, but it's cool, I think.
It's crazy that meme is finally dead. Those 2 slots no longer there, vanished.
One thing I find myself is that I forget to even select it half the time, because either it's just empty and so I forget about it, or if I do use it, because it uses a certain amount of film and we can only hold 200 film for some stupid reason, then it's like I'll see out of the corner of my eye and it's like, oh yeah, I've got something in there, but unbeknownst to me, because I forget about it half the time, it's not actually being activated, or it never activates during battle because I didn't have enough film. So it's just like, I think first off, let us hold more than 200 film. That is really stupid that we cannot hold more than that.
I don't know why it's not 9,999.
Why is it not 9,009? Yeah, exactly. If I can hold 9,999 of like literally every other item in the game, why can't I?
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we could see change like fairly soon in like a quality of life update.
Well, okay. How about think about it this way? The new shiny item that everyone is looking at, they want to see what it's like. They may be, some people might have the pack rat mentality. Some might have the compulsive use mentality. So maybe the fact that they're keeping the cap to a minimum is so that it will force people to, when they reach eventually reach that cap, they'll be forced to use it and then experience the new mechanic that's been introduced into the game. Whereas if, like, for me, for example, if I get something very valuable in a game, I tend to not use it until I have like 8 or 9 copies of it, and then I use one. I'm really bad at that. So having something like this would potentially force me to actually use it, therefore experiencing the new stuff that they've given us. Maybe that's why. Maybe eventually
I will disagree with that a little bit, and the only reason I said it is because literally every event that uses stamina gives you these film rolls, and it is not hard to get up to 200, and then you're stuck there again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to justify or like rationalize.
Yeah, I get
why.
what you mean. It's like they're trying to make it so that because you reach the cap so quickly that you actually just go ahead and use one. So then you are actually getting to see the new things, because there's no way for you to just stock up forever and never actually use it because you hit the cap so quickly. But
and always the concern with kind of changing gears here. The concern with adding, I guess, quote unquote items or just new mechanics is that the events can keep up with the shifting meta, right? Because if we've talked about this before, if they actually gave us 2 more items, that would have basically broken the balance between the challenge of an event and the allure of an event and your units and like how you would need to strategize going into it. So do you think that now with the revival mechanic, with support memories, with all of these other items that we have, all these units that we have, there's going to be some new groundbreaking update that's going to be hitting Dokkan at some point that will force all of these things to be utilized and still potentially not be enough, and you'll actually have to like really, really hunker down and figure out how to beat this new challenge. Do you see that coming? Because all we've had now is this new God of Destruction event, and that's pretty much it. So is that enough to warrant all of this, or do you see something else coming in the future?
Well, it would make sense if Akatsuki would release harder events, more challenging events, to justify those changes. But I've given up hope. Like we had the same discussion when the link leveling system came out. Nothing has changed, and yeah, like I don't think that something is going to happen anytime soon. Maybe later, maybe on the worldwide celebration. But for now, I've given up hope. I have to say that.
Okay, so I've always maintained that all these link level updates, everything that makes us do things easier and faster, isn't meant for the content creator, the whales, dolphins. It's meant for the free to play players to handle the set content of ESBR, SBR, like things that they struggle with, right? Where maybe they need, instead of like, oh, I got to summon for a dupe, it's like, well, maybe if I spend another month link level grinding this team, I can get it done, right? So I've always maintained or believe that it's not meant for us. It's something fun for us, but like it's meant for the casual player, the free to play player, to get through the harder content. Now, only having the revival mechanic and the memory skills, or all that stuff, like it's fine, but the problem is Infinite Dragon Ball History gave you the perfect example. They made an event and restricted you to 2 items. There's no need to not give us the 6 items by giving you a restricted event with only letting you use 6 items, which to me would have signaled, okay, well, this is going to be really hard. I got to be judicious in my item pickage and usage. But they decided, no, we're going to scrap all that and put these other new mechanics in. And at that point, it's kind of like, all right, that's cool, but that doesn't really give me any hope, like what Sunblade's saying, that they're really going to push hard for it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but based on what have we seen, if anything, they'll just tune the numbers up and call it a super extreme, super battle road or some BS like that, So like,
God.
so
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, right? I mean, we're already on the track, right? Because the category super battle roads, they're getting the numbers tuned up. So what's left after that, right? So I don't know. We'll see.
Super full power Saiyan 4 extreme super battle road.
Oh God.
Limit's broken.
Yeah.
It's broken.
No, I think you mentioned it again earlier in this episode, Alarm. We talked about it on a previous one before, but I really think that for people who want to have that like extra super hard difficulty, that have the accounts of the level that like some of us do, some sort of like wave, like never-ending waves of like difficulty mode would be so good.
Endless tower, that's basically it. Yeah,
because it's just the like more advanced version of people seeing how high they can go in easy A's, but like just make it a proper event. Don't make the rewards like something so good that all the people who can't get to crazy high like feel bummed out by it, but at least like something better than a Hercule statue for getting to like say 900 would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess the question would then, if we're going to derail a little bit here, would be what kind of currency would be good enough for people to do, but not so good that the free to play or the early mid game players would be super jealous and bitching and complaining like, oh, I can't do those. So I'm like, well, it's not meant for you. So
skill orbs.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I guess skill orbs would do it.
It's not super impactful, but it's people who want to min-max their characters really want skill orbs, right?
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I don't think it would
I-
make free-to-play players be like, "This is not fair." Like, blah blah blah. I don't
Yeah.
think those people would get outraged
Yeah,
about it.
because something like orbs, I think, wouldn't work. Because obviously, that's something that if you've got a lower level account, like having more orbs is going to help you out, like maxing out more characters.
Yeah.
And obviously, they're not going to do stones, although that'd be great. Imagine if it was even if it was one stone per stage, because like
Yeah.
that's what people
That's
that can
crazy
get to
if
the
they did
crazy high stages. That'd be great.
Some would
Yeah.
call it a miracle. Some would call it miraculous.
Yeah, miraculous, right, Toon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
speaking
sounds like a
speaking
seg-
of
this sounds
speaking
like a
of
segue.
miraculous. Hello. Miraculous Awakening. So that's one of the new categories that we got with these two new LRs. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Miraculous Awakening consists of characters who awakened an incredible power due to critical circumstances. Do you guys like this category? Does it make sense to you? Does it add up? Because I don't. I don't.
Hmm.
I don't like it. As far as a
Yeah.
category is concerned, do you guys like this category?
I'm gonna take a look
Okay.
through it right now, but by the way the name is like laid out, I guess it kind of does make sense. It's like characters that achieved a transformation through like ways that they weren't in control of, or something. Like they just got so angry they transformed, like Goku and Namek, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. That kind of makes sense to me. I'm not.
Well, that
opposed
kind of
to
sounds
it.
like explosion of anger, though, doesn't it?
Well, it's basically explosion of anger, but then you're so angry. But it doesn't have to be anger, right? Like it could be like other ways too, like Cell died and he transformed. It's ways that they weren't in control of, I think, is the best way to explain it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I definitely put Vegeta's category over Goku. So,
Like Goku-
especially
like-
if certain units get their easy A's. Like,
Super Saiyan God Goku, like he wasn't able to just transform into Super Saiyan God. He had to like get the ritual.
Do the ritual.
yeah, do the
Yeah.
ritual and everything. Yeah.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta wasn't able to transform that into Super Saiyan. Vegeta wasn't able to transform into Super Saiyan 4. He had to have like the Blutz wave thing. So, ways that they couldn't achieve themselves, or ways that they didn't directly control. Right?
Yeah.
I guess is what they're going for with this.
Again, the problem with these categories is just not cut and dry. Like you can make arguments for certain people, or we're just inferring like that you're getting this explanation from the wiki, right? And those guys don't know definitively why they call it Miraculous Awakening. They're just giving it some idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I'm just looking at the list on DBZ.
Yeah. Well, but either way, it's just like when you have the name of Miraculous Awakening, it's just not so easy to tell who's in there and who's not, right? That's the only problem I have with these like current categories for the last like year and a half.
The subjective categories.
Yeah, it's just BS because you're like, oh well, this person should be in there, but they're not, or they are
Yeah.
in there, but why are they in there? You know what I mean? And the second you can make those comments, you're just like, this is not good, at least to me.
I saw
Yeah.
a screenshot on Twitter earlier. The fact that the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is not in
Yeah.
the category, but the card is literally called Miraculous Awakening Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It's not in the category.
I saw somebody make a good point too. Like Rage Trunks, I think should be in here, and he's not in here. I think that might be an issue with
Yeah.
the naming thing because Dokkan doesn't actually call him that. They call him like Super Saiyan Trunks or something. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you just not call him that when everything else calls him that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about the
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 4 full power? Wasn't that essentially accomplished the same way that God Goku was, where they had this was like during the baby
Sort of,
fight, right?
yeah.
When
No, he's in
No,
he's in the
no.
category.
He is.
Super Saiyan 4 full powers in the category.
yeah. And so
Yeah,
like
'cause he
wasn't
got
that
it
when
from-
Majub was stalling by like giving baby Vegeta indigestion or something, and then Goku was standing.
No. This was against Omega.
This was against Omega. So
Yeah.
what? Okay, so what was going on that caused him to go full power? then?
Everybody gave him his power. It's the same exact
Yeah.
thing as Super Saiyan God, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just transferred their power to him. So
That one kind of breaks it for me because it doesn't. It just doesn't.
it's not changing form. He's just got a power up. So that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, glad he's on the category, but kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know.
look, as a category as far as using the units, I'm not going to complain because I have an excuse to run a bunch of ridiculous LRs. It's just more about the category itself because I mean, obviously, it's a growing problem as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
But, it's always worth mentioning and
I
always fun to poke fun.
I'm not really that upset about this category. It's not great, but I think there are way worse categories. Like rapid growth, I would say, is the first one that comes to mind. That's pretty bad. It's just not that bad.
Yep.
Let's also talk about the other category that I know Talon wanted to touch on, which is the power of revival or restorative power. according to the Dokkan Wiki, let me throw that out there, consists of characters who gained incredible power through a special resurgence. So I originally thought that this was kind of like a glorified second wind type category, but I mean, I don't know. But what do you guys think? Talon, we'll start with you.
I mean, it kind of is. It's one of those categories that's probably left up to interpretation and everything, and it's gonna grow over time, just like any category. But I personally, I think like it a little bit more than Goku's category, and especially if a certain Bardock character will finally get an easy A, then they're gonna have some good support units on. Because the one thing I don't like about either of these categories right now is that there's really no support units to use with these guys. So it'd be nice if we do. And luckily, Vegeta's category does have the physical Super Saiyan Bardock and even the Super Saiyan 2 Bardock.
Yes.
And there's that Super Saiyan 2 AGL Gohan, which I guess you can kind of use, but he's not very good. But that's about it in terms of support units. So if those guys can get some easy A's, then well, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. So
I'm kind of surprised that the LR Rose is not on here, because like he was getting beat to hell by Vegeta, and then he's like, okay, well, guess what? Now I'm powering up. I just ripped out of sight. And, like, he's like, even I don't know what's going on at this point.
Yeah,
like, that sounds like because like if you take a look at the actual list, I'm just looking at DBZ Space, the list on here. All of these characters were like beaten down, like they were like out of the battle, and then all of a sudden they just like got up and powered up. And that's what this category is. And that's exactly what he did, is it not?
Yep.
Maybe
but isn't he also not
then?
on rapid growth? So.
Well, no. Well, I remember the big one was that Vegeta from that saga was not on there, and he literally says in the game story event that he Rose was like, "I'm impressed by your rapid growth" or something. And it's literally the category.
Why isn't Vegito here? Because Gogeta is here, and essentially, if we're going to go off of what you're saying, they were beat up, they were down and out, and then they came back with the fusion. Why isn't Vegito a part of this? Because if you go back to the Future Saga, that's exactly why they tried using Potara, right?
Well, Vegeta was never really in a position where he was like down, right?
Well, Vegito himself may not have been, but
yeah, I think that's why he's not on there.
Yeah, well, and plus, I think again, taking a wild guess here, the only Gogeta that's on this category, right? Isn't it? Is the STR one on there? Or
Yep. Every Gogeta that was here though dominated the fights that they were in. Because
that one I don't get. That one I don't get.
Well, so let's see. Gogeta got. He got beaten up by Broly.
Not too bad.
He got punched like once.
Yeah, he did.
The second he went blue, he literally was never touched after that.
Sorry, I mean Goku and Vegeta. Sorry, Goku and Vegeta.
I don't. So I was gonna say I don't get why Gogeta's on here. I don't.
I don't know.
Maybe because of Janemba destroyed Goku and Vegeta, and they had to come back.
This is we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly, because there is.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Okay, wait. There is the physical Gogeta on here as well, but I think that's just because of the pre-trans. No, because actually, no, you're right. Every single Gogeta is on here. What?
Every Gogeta is on here. Yeah.
Yep.
You remember when Super Gogeta got destroyed by Janemba?
I mean, Goku and Vegeta did, but
so in theory, then
not
technically,
Gogeta.
if Gogeta's on it because Goku and Vegeta were getting beaten up, then pretty much
right. Then that's what I'm trying to get at.
That's the reason why they fuse.
I don't get why Gogeta is on here.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I don't know.
Well, it's almost like the categories are weird for a change.
Thank God.
Weird Akatsuki category. Never would have thought of it.
They just needed to make sure
Strange
Gogeta keeps getting used as the most card in the game, right? Used card in the game? That's probably why.
No, what was it from the podcast? We said, okay, it's official. Dokkan likes Gogeta. Legends likes Vegito, right? Like that's the reason he's not on the category.
Yeah.
Would you guys say that Piccolo and Gohan are here because of the resurgence that came from Piccolo charging his special beam cannon? Would that be why they're included?
Well, because this is the card from the fight against the Namekians from Universe 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they were like were they losing that? I don't even remember. There was so much going on in that episode.
I don't know if they were losing decidedly, but it was very even. And then Piccolo was kind of overwhelmed by the force of the planet Namek from Universe 6, right?
Yeah,
I think that was
Piccolo
essentially
was the
all
one
it
who was
was.
overwhelmed. Gohan, not so much.
Yeah, Gohan was kind of holding his own, and yeah, it was mainly Piccolo that made the comeback, and it was his move that was the swing play. So, would you? That's probably why they would be a part of this revival category, right? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
that was
I
my.
mean, I guess
that was my
technically, even
attempt.
though the moment from the card is from during the Tournament of Power, I guess it's because like Piccolo was the cause of the resurgence of Gohan's power, like before the tournament started. But that's the closest excuse I can give you.
Well, now that we're on the topic, let's talk about the Gohan and Piccolo, because Gohan has now made an appearance on several cards on these banners, and some of the combinations, I don't know if one of them I definitely wasn't expecting. So
Nope.
a lot of us had been theorizing that Gohan and Piccolo were going to emerge as a unit based on the evidence that we saw on the arts and everything in the news. But the surprise unit that came from this, in my opinion, was the Gohan and Frieza. And actually, I'm actually really happy with this one. So I'll leave it up to you guys to decide here which of these two units is better. I'll go ahead and read them. The Gohan and Piccolo, Bond of Master and Disciple, Key +3, 130%. Greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes supreme damage with a medium chance to perform a critical hit. And then the passive, attack and defense plus 20% at the start of the turn up to 80, plus an additional attack and defense plus 120 with a great chance to stun the attacked enemy when performing a super attack. Performs a critical hit on stunned enemies, and then representatives of Universe 7 category allies Key +2 attack and defense plus 20, disables enemy guard when performing a super attack if there's another Universe 7 category ally attacking in the same turn. That's just one unit. And then Gohan and Frieza, Battle of Wits, Key +3, 130%, raises attack for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to the enemy, and seals their super attack. Attack and defense plus 120%. Attacked enemies, attack and defense minus 30% when performing a super attack. Representatives of Universe 7 category allies, Key +2, attack and defense plus 20, with a great chance of guarding all attacks when performing a super attack if another Universe 7 ally is attacking in the same turn. These guys are insane, but if you had to pick one, which one is better, Gohan and Frieza or Gohan and Piccolo?
So I actually didn't notice this until just looking them up now. But can we talk about the fact that Gohan and Frieza are extreme STR?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not going to use them on that team.
Well, the reason why is because it starts out as a Frieza.
Yeah, it's a
card.
start
as a
They're-
Frieza
they're-
card,
they are
yeah.
not going to make Frieza super class.
I mean, you're not going to use them with like Bojack and Turles and stuff. Come on.
Yeah, like that team is so broken already. Like, and obviously you want to have reps of Universe 7 allies, which there aren't any other ones of, except I think the free-to-play Golden Frieza or the SSR version of this guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But just to change topic very slightly, because I was assuming that Frieza was going to be paired up with 17, since we assumed Piccolo was going to be with Gohan. I'm sure most other people have probably called this already, but since there's been no 17 representation at all so far, is he going to be the Part 2 LR, maybe? Because every other member of the team has been represented in a card now, but not him. So I assumed it would be
That's
Frieza
true.
and 17, but it isn't.
Yeah.
So
It could be him and Frieza, or it could be him and
him with a
Frieza and
partner
Goku.
super with like
It could be a
Goku
trio.
or Frieza. See,
Yeah. The U7 trio. Oh.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, I think the Frieza and Gohan one is interesting, but I think the Piccolo and Gohan one I like because we talked about it on the previous episode before, but like it helps, it covers across that issue that joined forces characters often have, where they get stuck in a weird, like they're only in like 1 or 2 categories because of the combinations of characters. Whereas these two obviously go together quite well because they're in like Master and Student Bond. I thought it was quite interesting that they're on Kamehameha, considering they normally don't do that if one of the units is like not specific to the thing. So that's quite cool.
Well, it helps that the super attack literally says Kamehameha and
Right.
Masenko.
And they have the link as well.
Because
Yeah,
so
the link, yeah.
they're,
And the link.
they're actually on some really good categories, whereas obviously really Gohan and Frieza, outside of, like we said, you're not going to use them on Extreme STR, apart from the actual
Rep
Universe
7.
Survival or Reps team.
Yeah.
They're only
Yeah.
on Battle of Wits, and that team is so insanely busted that they're probably not going to get used on that either. So
Frieza
they're
and
on big
Gohan
guys
are
team.
mostly going to be used for Super Battle Road because of that whole, when you attack an
Lane's
enemy,
got it, yeah.
you lower their attack by 30%, which is awesome. And then you have the chance to stun, which is really good. And then if you hit someone who is stunned, you crit them automatically. And so they're definitely made for Super Battle Road, and they are not going to look as impressive compared to Piccolo and Gohan. Piccolo and Gohan easily put up more numbers. They look more impressive. But that's not to say that Frieza and Gohan are bad by any means. They're actually they're probably really good. There's going to be that kind of unit you throw off rotation, I think, on the two particular teams that you usually run them on. And that's where they're going to be used probably the most.
Yeah.
I was actually going to argue that you could do that for both of these guys because they're both support, technically, right?
They are technically best support, yes.
Yeah, because they're on those, like, obviously, Gohan and Piccolo are on more categories, like we said, but like a lot of the teams that they're on that have such like high powered rotations where you're running like double Dokkan Fest LR, that they fit into. I think I use them the same way. They do remind me very much of the Bardock and Guinea from last year, because even though those guys didn't particularly have support passives, you could just put them on the teams that they fit on as a third slot floating unit. But not only were they still good, they had the defensive capability to like hold up, so you're not getting to like the end of a difficult event and then they get you killed in slot 3. So these guys feel like they very much fit into that same boat where they will be a benefit on the team, but most likely just as an off rotation, because let's be fair, if you're running like reps of Universe 7, you're probably running like multiple LRs as your actual main rotations, especially if you've got obviously like the new units from both banners. So
yeah, I think there's 5 LRs that you run on this team now. So there's a lot
something like that,
issues, but not really issues because they link up well, but you could always use more support, right?
Dude, I love this category. I love this category, man.
Like,
before we wrap this up, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only downside. Okay, so just to give my 2 cents, I think Frieza and Gohan aren't as good as Piccolo and Gohan, only because he only has a chance to guard. It's a great chance, but like I saw last night, I think Truth did 4 turns with them on rotation, and they did not guard at all. And that's the only terrible part, is like they have a chance to guard, and it's just like, great. I expected to take 20k damage, now I'm taking 50. Thanks a lot, guys. So like, that's where I would give the bump up for Piccolo and Gohan versus Frieza and Gohan. But either way, they're support units. You'll throw them off rotation. Hopefully, these guys will guard, but for the most part, that's why they're lower on my list.
Yeah, I guess the Gohan part of the card is the STR Ultimate Gohan coming in with that unreliable defensive kit.
I got a chance to guard.
We need some visual feedback if the guard is activated for the turn or not.
That would be a pretty hefty update if they were to do some sort of visual cue, right? Like, are you talking about like on individual sprites, or do you just mean some universal?
Like at the beginning of the starter turn, where it's like, guard is activated, so it's like when you jump into the fight, and there's everyone's like 3 huge paragraphs of passives go off. There might just be like an animation that says guard activated or something, where we know, okay, so he's got guard. I can put him on the first slot. No, he doesn't. So I got to eat an item. So
these guys are different because they also only activate it after the super too, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
That is.
Because you can't make a good decision on where to put them, or if you use an item
on it activating, I guess.
But at least I guess especially against one enemy, especially if they can be attack lowered, at least they have 120% defense and they're lowering the enemy's attack.
That's true.
And then I guess they're getting their own support buff as well. So they do balance it out a little bit, but obviously in harder events, if they don't guard, then like you said, you're going to be eating a lot more damage than you were expecting. But
I mean,
it's not like units like B-Pan, because like even now, if you take B-Pan into a hard event, if her damage mitigation doesn't go off, she still takes like 70 odd K in like category Super Battle Road.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of chance to be good defensively units.
Yeah. It's STR Ultimate Gohan all over again, basically.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yes, STR Ultimate Gohan and Frieza.
Before we wrap up this topic, I just wanted to ask you guys quickly. What is with the sudden fascination with the critical hit? Like, why is every unit seemingly having some sort of critical hit mechanic where it's almost a guarantee or something close to that? Was it just some, game development decision by the team? Was there some thematic connection that harkens back to the whole critical hit thing? Like, why is it suddenly all about critical hits?
I think the most obvious reason that comes to my mind is the fact that they probably saw most players, like an overwhelming amount of players, were always going crit in the potential system, so they wanted to give an incentive to go a different
route. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give,
Plus, isn't it?
use more of the ability system.
This would probably go way more in depth into APT kind of stuff that I don't understand. But like, I guess with the potential, because of so many units now do so many interesting things like on super attack and stuff like that, like giving units multiple built-in additionals is obviously super powerful. Built-in dodge is like one of the best mechanics against unit enemies that can't disable it. Whereas crit is just like a nice little thing that gives you a little bit of extra damage, but is not always going to be like the be all and end all whether you beat the event or not, like whether you crit on the next super attack. So it's like an interesting effect they can give a unit, but it doesn't completely like break the difficulty of the event. Plus it helps get around type advantage, which is obviously one of the most annoying things. We've all had those rotations where it's like, oh good, I've got my entire tech rotation now against this int phase and none of them are critting, so this phase is going to take me like 10 minutes.
I mean, do you remember before the potential system where you, and I mean, I wasn't making content then, but I think it was D for you. It was like, oh yeah, I'm going to try this physical team against this STR team. And there was no potential system. You couldn't crit. So he'd be there for like 20 minutes and be like, okay, got to use an item now. And got to make sure, you know, it's like 200k damage or not even 200k. It would be like 20k damage.
And then STR Gogeta came out.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's stupid. But to bring in the point on the critical stuff, crits bypass defense. I think they don't bypass damage reduction, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
With the longer, harder events, they have a lot of defense and they have a lot of damage reduction. So if you manage to crit, you're just bypassing one of the two things, and that'll accelerate, you know, the speed and whatever for farming and speed runs or whatever the case may be. And people love big damage numbers. So again, to hammer home to Garesh's point, that they're probably giving people options on how to utilize the skill orbs and the potential system. So instead of it not being 25 crit every unit, it's going to be, oh, well, maybe I'll give them more additional because they already have crit built in, you know? So.
All righty. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up part 1 of the show, but we are not done. When we come back, we'll be talking about some big global news coming up and, of course, answering some of your questions. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
All righty, guys, we're back. I'd like to go off the top. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. We've had a lot of growth in the last week or so. But first and foremost, shout out to Zephyr. Happy birthday to the dude. He gifted out 50 tier 1 subs right at the start of the show.
Damn.
This is us telling him thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We've had the last Yeet Bender who subscribed for a tier 1 sub as well. And then, of course, Hydros plays. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Who?
Hydros. Who's Hydros?
Yeah,
so
so
the stream then.
Shoot. Where's the list? Do you guys have the list? I completely forgot.
I just realized what you've been putting on my guy, Hydros. What the hell is going on over here?
You having fun down there?
Wait, your guy? You mean that's not actually you?
Is that you? Huh?
My
Okay,
avatar.
Tune.
That's what I meant.
Oh, Tune, just get a camera, man. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, hold on 1 sec. I don't have the list for our YouTube guys. Do you guys do? I forgot to mention that.
I'll pull it up if you guys want to start talking about the next topic real quick.
Yeah, sorry. So appreciate everyone's support for with the follows, with the subs, the bits, and everything. If I missed it, I'm sorry, but let's carry on.
Okay. Now I can't stop looking at this. All right. So we're back, folks. Before we jump into your questions, we're going to go ahead and talk about some big global news. Woo!
Oh,
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta drops tomorrow. All right. And I know all of you global players are super excited, especially after what happened on JP. So let's talk about it. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. You know the guy. Grade 8 power lead. Is he worth summoning for Garesh? Take it away. We'll start with you.
All right. Well, this is basically going to be a reiteration of what I talked about for Jiren when he came out, but I would argue that this banner is much better than Jiren's banner, but the banner is not great. I would say this. Global doesn't really, as of now, have anything major, and by major I mean Dual Dokkan Fest, 3+1, stuff like that. Nothing major planned until the anniversary in July. The anniversary is in July, so 5 months, around 5 months from now. A little bit more than 5 months. So if you want to go ahead and summon for Gogeta, I would not say that's a terrible idea. I would say that Bojack's banner is definitely better than this banner. So my recommendation would be to save for that banner if you're interested in running his team. His team's very good. His banner's very good. I believe Gohan, Tech Gohan returns on that banner, as well as a bunch of other really good units. I think Cooler's also on there as well. So his banner's better, but I mean, obviously, people like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So if you like him, summon. That's my recommendation. He's a good unit, obviously extremely good. Probably top. I mean, I'm not going to say he's the best TUR. You could say that for sure. At least top 3 overall TUR unit in the game, I would say. But yeah, if you like him, summon. That's all I have to say, really.
Ningen, you and I called / invented Super Saiyan 4. So give us your genuine thoughts on this unit and why we should potentially summon him.
So yeah, the banner's not going to be great, I imagine, because it's very likely that Kefla will get changed for someone, but based on who those potential changes could be, I feel like they'll probably, I don't know, I feel like they'll probably keep Gohan on Bojack's banner, so it won't be him. So I'm not sure that change is necessarily going to massively increase the value of the banner, but it is one of those typical banners, not unlike a legendary summon, where it's just all about Gogeta. Like, he's the one you want, so his banner's not very good, but he is incredibly good. So it falls into one of those banners that if you're free to play or you spend very minimally, then it's probably not worth going crazy trying to get him. But obviously, if you're someone who does put a bit of money into it, it might be worth trying. Obviously, on Global, we know from the data mine, we don't know exactly which format it's going to take this time, because they've done it, well, like 3 or 4 different ways now, but there is going to be some sort of PLAF ticket. So again, you might just want to maybe grab that, and then on top of that, try 1 or 2 stone multis. But obviously, for people like us that spend a little bit more, especially when it's a unit that they want in particular, I will not be done summoning until I've pulled at least 1 copy of him, regardless of how many stones that takes. Now, hopefully that won't be that many.
Famous last words right there.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Famous
But
last words.
I love all the Super Saiyan 4s. I obviously
right.
pulled all of the Heroes ones. I have my full Super Saiyan 4 team, level 10 links ready to go. I just need Gogeta so I can actually run the team. So
Preach!
Tune out here going like, what am I hearing? I love it.
Yeah, so I'll probably have about 1,000 stones, and hopefully we pull at least 1 copy in that.
I can't wait to see all those tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas you're about to pull.
Yeah, get some free Kais. That's fine.
One last thing I'll mention for Global is, again, everything's subject to change, as we've seen before. But I would say that a smart strategy to use is to save red coins for the PyCon and Janemba banner if you want a copy of one of the blue fusions. Because if you're planning on summoning a lot for the anniversary, you can just straight up skip those PyCon and Janemba banners and just use your coins on those. I think that's a good target to have for your red coins, is, you know, maybe buy 1 of each of the fusions if you have enough coins, maybe just 1. It's 500 red coins, I think, from now until then, because those guys should come out in April. You know, if you have a few hundred red coins, you might be able to summon on, you know, maybe this Gogeta banner or the Bojack banner. I think summoning on the Bojack banner, getting some red coins, using them on the for one of the 5-year fusions, and then saving from there until the anniversary is a good strategy.
And how do you get red coins? By summoning. Summon a lot.
That's what I just said, Bojack, yeah.
Yeah, you summon for Bojack. You skip Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you go for Bojack. Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
I know you had to hear it, Tune, but
Silence.
can't silence
Let's move
me.
on.
Yeah,
Well,
the smart thing to do is to not go crazy summoning for him, but he's incredibly good, so you just kind of have to decide how you want to balance that out.
Yeah. Just, you know what? Live vicariously through your favorite content creators. We'll do the summoning. You guys can watch and enjoy it.
There we go.
The other thing too you gotta remember is if you summon for the heroes, and you got some of those Super Saiyan 4s, you might as well go get Gogeta. You know what I mean?
So this is something that we talked about actually on the episode when the hero stuff came out, but like it's almost like a smart marketing move. Like, buy the heroes banner coming out technically early for Global because it came out at the same time on both versions. It's put people like me into that spot where we pulled the new Super Saiyan 4s. It's like, oh, these new units are really cool. This category is really cool, but we don't have the proper leader yet. So I said during the hero celebration, it's like, wow, now I'm even more hyped to get Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So I think it was a smart move.
Hyped for Chain Battle.
Shut up.
Okay, with that, I think we move on. If truth is,
Let's move on. Let's move on to the questions. So, folks, a couple of days before the show, we sent out a tweet we let you guys know on the YouTube community page and in the Discord that we're going to be having our show. So you guys can post your questions, and we like to filter through and find some of the best ones. So we will go ahead and answer some of your questions right now, starting
But
with...
before we do that, actually, we do have one more support. Sorry, I had to cut you off there, Chin.
That's okay. Go for it.
For the YouTube members, for our level 2 and level 3 members, so if you guys do that on YouTube and everything, again, awesome support. But today we do have one. It is Brian Data, I believe is how you're trying to say his name. But thank you so much for being a 59 Gaming Ultra member, which is our level 3 member over on YouTube. You just rejoined 5 days ago, so he's been supporting the channel. So thank you so much for the awesome support right there. All right, back to you, Jin.
It's 5'9" Gaming, by the way.
Anyway, let's start with our first question, brought to us by Doke. I don't want to say Doke. Yeah, legend, whatever. Doke. Doke asks, what animation do you want to see made into a support memory the most? Mine is Majin Vegeta's smirk at the tournament grounds.
A support memory.
All right, so
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I stated that multiple times, but yeah, the point still stands. I want the crying Vegeta from the Namek saga.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
That is a good one. Mine was going to be a Vegeta one, but I think that's better.
Maybe he could increase the critical hit chance or something for the entire rotation
because he took a critical hit to the chest, right?
But that's my wish.
Savage.
I was gonna say Vegeta when he's like training to become a Super Saiyan and his like hands are bloody and he just says I don't care anymore and he just like screams and explodes into Super Saiyan. I would want that to be
Yeah. Trying to think of ones that I don't want to just be like part of units, because I want some of these like iconic moments. I want them to be like active skills and stuff. So it's hard to pick out one for a support memory.
For me, if they're not going to do a counter Frieza taking a chop to the neck into ripping someone's arm off, it would have to be Kid Goku drinking the Ultra Divine Water and like almost dying. Unless they don't want to make it an active skill, because that could be like a buff active skill that he does.
Yeah,
that might also be too grotesque for Dokkan, right?
I mean, he just drinks a thing and he's like dying almost.
Yeah, I think the dying part might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, but Kid Goku's active skill, he punches a hole straight through the person you're fighting.
Exactly.
I mean, I was gonna pick Garesh's where he Frieza takes a chop to the neck and then like just rips off Nail's arm. That would be for me. The effect would be the boss or whatever can't heal for that turn. So like for those annoying fights, like the Masu can't that always heals them during battlefield or something like that. Like that would be one unique way to play around with that.
That'd be cool.
Pretty good one. Any other ideas?
I don't know what scene in particular, but I would love a support memory that would seal all enemies for the turn and bypass anything that even if they can't be sealed for one turn. And so my original thought was maybe like a Krillin doing his solar flare against the first form cell or something like that. Maybe, you know, when they fly off on the airplane and everything, something like that. But just seal them for the turn, basically, regardless of what event you're on.
Would it be better to have Chichigo Kaioken as an active or as a unit or as a support memory?
Chichigo and Kaioken, did you say?
Yeah, do you remember that one? I think it was it during the Garlic Jr. saga where she was getting pissed off at Marin?
Not canon, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
You don't remember that? I mean, it's not actually Kaioken, but like she gets angry and she's like she gets a red aura. You don't remember that?
Yeah, nah. The Garlic Jr. stuff I saw. I think the first time I ever saw Dragon Ball Z being aired, and then I've never like rewatched any of the Garlic Jr. stuff.
Not a real fan here.
I just don't like Garlic Jr.
All right, let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Pranoy Paul. Pranoy asks, how long do we think that the concept of pushing the game with cool animations will last, as new game mechanics and game modes should be rather the way to take the game ahead, in my opinion. Let's avoid discussing chain battle, though, LOL.
I mean, like the first 2.5 years of the game. Wait, when did Metal Cooler really come in? Was that like 3.5 years in the game? Around there? either way, the first 2.5, 3 years, whatever, before Middle Cooler, the AGO one, the animation sucked, right? Or weren't that great. So for the longest time, we were just literally popping bubbles, doing rotations and stuff like that. So the only good thing about the animations now is it just gives it a lot more flair. And yeah, it sure takes longer, like a 20-second, 30-second animation now, but it's just more fun for us, right? And it's just the idea that they're increasing the production value. So as long as they keep it up here, it'll maintain a level of interest from people in general, right? Because people see it as like, oh, it's just the anime all over again, or even done better. I think Russia said some of the UI animations look better than the anime did.
That was true. I didn't say that. Don't pin that on me.
All right, I'm just saying. Just saying. But the whole appeal of the animations is that everyone has, if you've enjoyed Dragon Ball, you've seen the anime at least, right? Or hopefully you did. And this gives you that nostalgia feeling. So if anything, it's just a good marketing ploy for them to grab new players. Now, if they're talking about modes and stuff, yeah, sure. In terms of gameplay mechanics and stuff like that, yeah. But the flashy part is a turn takes like a minute, right? You select your bubbles and then you watch the pretty animations, right? Like there's not much else there is to it. Now, like again, Chain Battle is something different, which is great, and hopefully they'll evolve with other types of modes that they can play with. But yeah.
But yeah, if they keep improving the animations over time, it works on both levels because, like you said, it can help to draw in new people when they see like the adverts for the app and stuff. But like even us, if you think about like the way it's kind of worked over the years, is you almost get to like a certain level. It's like, okay, this is the quality of super attack animations, and then we get to like a new anniversary or something, and it like jumps up a level, and everybody gets hyped about how like crazy good quality the new animations are, and then we start to see that slowly go up a little bit, and then all of a sudden again something takes it to like that next level. So even for like people that have been playing it for ages, it's always kind of hype when that new next level of quality of the animations comes out. But yes, they do need to be doing content a lot. I don't think just making the super attack animations better is all they can do to actually address the question. And even though he says not to address Super Battle Road, it's like Chain Battle. That's the main problem. Is we want them to bring out new modes, and so then they tried to make a new mode, and nobody likes it. So the question is how to do it right. So the God one, like we talked about earlier, whilst it's not the most creative thing, at least that's an interesting newer version of the same kind of events that we already had. So we just really need to see them build from there, I think.
All right, let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Limited Clips. Limited Clips asks, do you guys think that we need a new 200% new? We don't even have one. 200% lead in this current meta of Dokkan Battle, or save it for the later future?
I don't think we need it.
I don't think we honestly we really don't need it. I don't think 200% is really going to make it. It's not going to. I mean, everything can be beaten right now without 200%. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think you really need it. So
I think they understood that like they need to stop power creeping the game through leader skills a long time ago. And that's when they introduced categories, and we really haven't gotten like excessive power creep since then.
Yeah,
because 170 is the main one that we have right now.
Yeah, so when they want to make a unit at like the top level of power in the current meta, it's that they get 170 across the board. But yeah, I think what I would like to see, we talked about it before, is just the fact of rather than creating all these new categories or pushing the numbers up, they need to do more things like they've done with some of the recent units of just giving them 2 different categories that will mix together well to make an interesting new option for team building, because that will keep things interesting rather than just having to push the numbers up. It's just give us decent combinations of the existing teams that don't normally go together but will obviously have good potential for team building, because that always makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, aka the SCR Bojack. I mean, everyone at first glance was just looking at him as just a cooler copy essentially, but his categories, actually, the time travelers and his other category, they work really well together actually. So they're a lot of fun to run.
Yeah, like
so-
even when like Tech Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta is a good example for me.
Oh,
'cause
I
he's
love
one of
Super
my
Saiyan 2
favorite-
category.
One of my favorite
Love it.
TURs. Like the Super Saiyan 2 category is really good, but it is a little bit restricted. But then Resurrected Warriors is like a really good category to throw in
Yep.
with it, because a lot of
Yep.
the time when you are running the Resurrected Warriors team as and of itself, as like just a sort of main Resurrected Warriors team, you wouldn't necessarily use that many Saiyan units because of how well they fit in. So then
Mhm.
matching that up with the Super Saiyan 2 category with Vegeta's leader skill, it gives you like a whole bunch of extra units that you can throw in that then fit well within the team. So yeah, rather than moving into bigger leader skills, I just want to see more variation of the mix of categories, because I think that can keep it interesting.
On to the next one, brought to us by Drop. Drop asks, should Dokkan have an auto mode for quest clearing, just like Legends?
Yes.
Yes.
Every gacha game should have some kind of auto mode for
Yes.
those kind of things, I think.
Can
That's
you
a tough-
imagine auto link leveling?
It's a tough question. I would say no,
Whew.
because I feel like the reason Legends has this is because they know how boring the PvE in the game is. And the game isn't supposed to be about like the main allure of the game is not supposed to be about PvE as much as it is PvP. But they have a restriction behind the even in Legend they have a restriction behind the auto mode where, well, actually, do they? No, they don't. It's skip tickets. Never mind. Okay, definitely. I don't think Dokkan should have skip tickets. I actually don't even think it should have auto mode either, though, because like the whole thing of the game is farming, right? Legends is
Yeah.
not about farming. Legends is about playing like PvP and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I think like if they take that away, it like diminishes what you've done already. Because like we've played this game for 6 years. If you all of a sudden implement an auto mode, people are going to be rank 999. People are going to have 200 link level 10 units. It sort of takes away from the achievements that
Appeal.
you've gotten
Yeah.
from the game, like over the course of the past X amount of years you've been playing.
I would argue that Dokkan needs it more than Legends, because Legends, there is user variation. Because when you're playing a game, a fighting game, and you actually have control over the character's movements, I feel like that breeds more variety in the gameplay experience, right? Whereas in Dokkan, you have 3 units, you have X number of bubbles, which those bubbles could chain into a super attack or not. I feel like there's more monotony in a Dokkan gameplay versus a Legends gameplay, because you just have less, degrees of freedom, I guess. So having some sort of auto mode, maybe we could limit it to maybe just like quest mode or something, I think would benefit Dokkan more than it would for something like Legends.
Yeah,
I think
certain-
it just. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think certain events, I think it would be a good idea. If they had a system like this, then certain events, you wouldn't be able to use it. But I guess Goresh makes some good points when you think about it in the bigger picture. But the only reason I like always think I wish this game had some sort of like skip ticket type feature is when you're doing that thing where you have to farm a unit like that's just come out, and you have to get all the copies to open their paths and do their super attack, and then you do like you do your 4 runs in a row with a 200% boosted team and you don't get a single drop. It's like, I really don't want to sit and do this for like 3 hours. Like, could the game just do it itself for me, please?
Yeah, I mean, I see both your points. I think the biggest thing would be just tie it to the boost system. You do it 3 times or once every 8 hours. You can do it once. That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest, fairest way to do it. Like, I agree that the appeal to Dokkan is just the actual animations, not necessarily the gameplay, but it's really to see the animations and the team building and all that stuff. And the auto would kind of take away from it. But at the same time, there's so much farming that needs to be done that I could see the reason why people are like, oh, give me the auto mode or whatever. And so the middle ground is just tie it to the boost system. So once the boost is up, then you've cleared the stage once, you can go ahead and skip it. But you've only got 3 in a day or something like that.
I mean, given how bad the link leveling is already, I don't think it would be that bad. And since how there are just so many units in the game and there's so many more coming in, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world.
Well,
I'm
plus
just gonna say I'm just basing my knowledge of skipping and stuff like that off of games that I have that I've played. Like Legends has skip tickets. Once I clear the missions first stage, I never play it again because I can just skip it. Pokemon Masters, I log in, I use all my stamina in 5 seconds because I skip everything. So I feel like that's something they want to shy away from, but maybe they don't.
I guess it depends, because one thing is like in something like, because the only other game I play that has that kind of feature is Grand Cross. So if you skip tickets to skip stages in events, you still have to obviously spend your stamina. So in Dokkan, even if they gave us some sort of skip ticket thing, a lot of players are not going to want to then use a stone to refresh their stamina. So you're not necessarily going to get people just turbo like link leveling their whole account or getting to rank 99 unless they want to be spending all the stones it would take to do that, because you still have to use your own stamina. Because there are certain things that if the farming, I think it comes down to more of a how the farming can be tedious at times, because if the drop rates were fairly regular, then I wouldn't mind like not having a skip. But it's when, you know, I've already run through the event like 50 times and I'm still not finished. It's like the fact that you have to sit and manually do it and you're still not getting anywhere each time. It just becomes kind of annoying sometimes. And that's the reason I don't want the game to be annoying to play. I want to get the farm done so then I can go back to doing the things I actually want to do on the game.
The only downside is what Goresh is saying with Legends is primarily a PvP focused game. You make that same argument with Grand Cross. So like the whole point of Grand Cross is so you could play other people. The PvE content's there just for something to farm. But really, if you're like, Grand Cross is one of those games that's just it's a main game. If you want to maximize everything, you got to do PvP, you got to do the PvE side. But if you're trying to, you know, utilize your time best, you just skip all the PvE stuff that you can and then go into PvP. Like that's kind of the whole point. So like with Dokkan, there's no PvP. That's the thing. Like all you're doing is farming and getting units to play, you know, content. So again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying, like, I could see the reason to do it, but I could see why if they were to implement something like that, it would be very limited, like tied to boost system or something like that. So
yeah, that is a good point. All right, let's move on to the next question, brought to us by Mitch Hennessy Z. Mitch asks, Saiyan Day 2021, who you got?
Bring the Blue Boys back.
Well, they'll be back.
I think it's pretty obvious they'll be back. Yeah.
Better yet, give them an easy A.
Yeah, because right now they're floating off rotation, right, on U7.
Yo. Make them relevant, Dokkan. Come on.
So I think we could either see the Gogeta that's going to be the opposite to the STR Goku and Vegeta / Vegito, or if they don't do that, I'd like to see. I know we you know, we don't have enough in the game already, but a new Z Broly.
I'd be okay with that.
I was thinking of a Broly and Paragus with an exchange where Broly crushes Paragus in the pot and then goes over to Super Saiyan or something.
Oh, that'd be great. Because we don't have a unit really that gets used that is just named Paragus like at the start, because it's just the SSR version of the Broly and Paragus, isn't there? No one you don't run him. So yeah, that'd be cool. A Paragus that, even if it's one of those like turn 1 exchange things, that'd be great.
Don't we have a Gohan? We already have a couple Z fighters that are from that Dragon Ball Z Broly movie, right? Like the AGL World Tournament Gohan. So yeah, that would be fun to kind of explore that movie.
We also need the uppercut Goku from the end of the movie as well.
Yeah.
That's the LR.
That would be a great.
He could be on. He could be on the Goku category, because he gets all his power from everybody else and then does the magic out on Broly.
Yeah, that's true. He could be on there.
That would be both restorative and a miracle, right?
Well, yeah, if super full power 4 Saiyan monkey is on there, then he should be on there.
I die a little inside when you guys say that stupid name.
Next
question brought to us by Never Gonna Get You Up. Never Gonna Get You Up asks, do you expect them to do anything remotely interesting on Global Dokkan? These are feeling like the worst build-up months to the anniversary in quite a while on Global. This is a great question.
All right, so let's sort of like look at the schedule, because the only banners that we have to wait for on Global are Gogeta, which is tomorrow, LR Turles, Bojack, and then Pycon and Janemba, and that's it.
Yep.
So Saiyan Day's happening, right? We're obviously getting a thing for Saiyan Day. It's probably going to be joined like it has been the past 2 years or whatever it has been. But I think it's going to go Gogeta tomorrow, Turles in part 2, because that lines up with the Prime Battle First Form Frieza EZA, and then we're going to get Saiyan Day. That's 318, right? After 318, we're going to go into April, and I think that's when they're going to do PyCon and Janemba. Then we have like a month and a half of nothing, so I think that's when we'll do a global first. So that could be when we get something that's interesting. But I think Sunday could be good as well.
Well, plus we'll also most likely will get they'll fit in whatever the first Dokkan Fest is after the anniversary on JP.
In
will then
March,
come before
yeah.
the anniversary, won't it, for global? So.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely could be a global first fit in there somewhere. People are torn on those apparently. So
Wait, so Golden Week, not Golden Week, New Year's for JP lines up when? April for you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when Goku and Vegeta came out in 2020. It was
Yeah.
like
Okay.
mid-April or something like that. And then we went into the Spirit Bombs Orb Goku. I believe it was after that.
yes.
Was it? Yeah. Was it? Was it before or after?
No, I think he was before.
before, and then we had that, and then we had UI Goku.
Yeah, the reason why is because we celebrated the Gohan, the Super Saiyan 2 Tech Gohan together.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah, so
guys
that
don't
base
have
is
a
gone.
yeah, that place is up, so that's probably a global first. Now the question is, what is that going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
again.
Who knows?
Kid
Hit
Buu.
again. Well, it's like I don't think anyone would have predicted at the time when they came out. I don't think anyone would have predicted the Go Bros coming out. So it is one of those. They could literally
Random.
do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garlic Jr. There we go.
No, I want my
Yes.
global first to be hyped. Damn it!
Hey,
Give me my
Every
LR.
single
Well, actually,
podcast that
give
comes
me
up.
my LR Hellfighter 17 and GT 17 that fuse into.
we're talking hype, dude.
Super 17.
Stand
We're
on-
talking about
Yeah.
hype stuff.
Standalone Super Saiyan
Yeah.
Blue Gogeta.
He's the most hype. Look at him.
Can you imagine if they did that? People would be so upset on Japan.
Oh no, it'll be a Kid
Oh.
Buu, Revival Kid Buu. There we go. Multiple
Yeah.
Revival Kid Boos.
All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this week's show. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Huge thank you to Hydros for manning the boards, keeping the stream afloat. We could not have done this without you. Also, thank you for putting all that garbage around my avatar.
Don't
forget to follow us
Go
on
Hydros.
Wow, I'm telling the truth that you called Zemo garbage.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitch, Twitter, join the Discord, check out our Facebook fan page, the subreddit, everything. Follow all the links, fully connect to the 5-9 network. And don't forget to vote for your favorite Dokkan moments on the upcoming Dokkan Awards show, which is going to be on March 5th. So make sure you guys vote as soon as possible. And if you miss any part of the show, fear not. All of your favorite podcasting platforms have you covered. Google, Apple, Spotify, many more. Subscribe. Do not skip a beat. Join us right here tomorrow for our next episode of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast for the Masked Ningen, Talon, Nolar, Goresh, and Sunblade. I am Toon Rami. Thank you once again for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.